Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to this wonderful episode with Crypto Dever. All right, so in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make use of trend lines to make money from crypto trading. Actually, so now, first of all, I have a trade I entered on BTC, and this trade has been I've been very highly profitable on this trade. Let me see. So this is it. This is a trade I entered on BTC. I entered this trade on BTC, as you can see here now. So this trade is highly profitable in the sense that I'm in profit. As you can see, I have 54% profit. And okay, so now this trade was able to be executed through the power of technical analysis, and I've been dropping videos on technical analysis. So if you have not been watching the videos I've been dropping, you're going to be missing out, because technical analysis is a combination of a lot of things. It's not just something you just have to learn, or probably a single pattern. So make sure you check out the video. You can just click on the screen right now. You have access to the list of the videos I've made on technical analysis. So for this very video, we're going to be talking about how to make use of the trend line. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand what trend line is and when to use them. So when we pull up our chart once again, oh no, not this chart. Wow, this coin is actually pumping. So when you pull up this chart, you're going to be seeing that, okay, you have a lot of things you don't understand here. How do we know when this coin is going up? How do we know when this coin is coming down? Okay, so I'm going to tell you. Now, first of all, let's see. I entered this trade on around this point. Yep, around this point, somewhere here. That was where I entered this trade. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I was able to enter this trade. Now, when you look at this trade, now you discover that my entry point is somewhere. Let me see. My entry point, as you can see here now, my entry point on this trade is somewhere. Where is it? Entry 7124, and the current price is 67,500. So I was able to make money while the coin is going down. So this is future trade actually. So now I'm going to just go back and then let's see. So what is trend line? Trend line is simply a line, usually a slant line, that connects what is it called, that connects multiple candlesticks. It doesn't matter how you draw them, whichever way you use to draw them, they are correct, and I bet you they are correct. And that is what I'm going to show you in this video. Now you have to understand when to use trend line and when not to use trend line. So you make use of trend lines when crypto is going up, okay, or when crypto is going down steadily. Understand? Not when it is moving sideways. You cannot apply trend line when the crypto is moving sideways. That is point number one. Then I'm not going to show you how to pull up your trend line and how to also draw your trend line. So if you are using a laptop, just when you check by the side, you're going to see this thing that's here, all these things here. So like this one that is showing this line, that is where you have your trend line and most of the lines. So let me shrink it back. Okay, so I'm not going to click on this place now. It has trend line, it has so many of them actually. So now I'm going to be clicking on trend line. Okay, now when I click on trend line, remember I told you that, okay, trend line is a line that connects a lot of crypto, a lot of candlesticks. Now rule number one: the more the line it connects, the more the more powerful the trend line is. Let me repeat: the more candlesticks it connects, the more powerful the trend line is. So you can just take it and then draw any line, right? Okay, yeah, this is our green line. Oh, let me change this to something like white line, right? That will make more sense. Okay, so let me just say, okay, just draw it anyhow. Oh, no, 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 you don't do it that way. Now let me now show you how to do it best. So when you pull up your trend line and when it's active, right? Now when you pull it up, now you can start anywhere. As you can see now, this crypto has come down here, moved up to this point, as you can see here now. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just any place I want. Okay, let me start from here. I'll draw this line. Wow, you can see this line is connecting. Okay, this is a very good trend line. If I'm trading, I will say, wow, this is a good trend line. Now when you look at this place, you see, let's take note of what we have here. So let me activate my arrow. All right, so now you discover that first of all, when this line touched here, this was point number one. It tested here, it pumped, Point number 2, let's see. Point number 2, it tested here, it pumped, right? When it came down to this point, it went up to this point. Now it ranged. The moment it tested here again, what happened? Again, it pumped. So when it tested here again, it pumped. So that tells you that okay, this line is a very powerful line, and whenever this line is broken, it means it's a red line. It's a red flag. Okay. So when I discovered that okay, number one tested this, number one pumped, tested this number two, I'll be waiting for it on the third one, because your trend line, the more the line it touches, the more powerful. So it has touched one line, it has touched the more candlestick it touches. So it has tested one candlestick, second candlestick, then the third one I have to say okay, this line is a significant one. So I just have to enter the trade. Now I'm going to show you the particular trend line, sorry, the particular trend line pattern that made me enter the trade, that is making me so profitable. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now is, let me remove these things, let me remove this one. So now another person can decide to come. Okay, now someone asked the question, okay, must I actually come and must I draw this line like this? No, you mustn't. Now let me take another pattern of drawing this line. Okay, let me assume that I want to draw this line this way. So instead of starting from here, let me assume I want to start from here. Now remember, the more line it connects, the more powerful. Okay, now if you check this line again, you're going to discover that this is another where place where this line was tested. Now you see what happened here. It came to this point, it went up, came here, pumped, came here, pumped, and then it broke. Now that will bring me to another rule. Remember the first rule I gave you: the more the line, the more candlesticks it touches, the more powerful the trend line is. Now another one, you have to understand that when a trend line is broken, when it tests this point, it pumped, tests, and at a point tested and broke. Take notes. That is a sign that there is going to be a change. If the coin has been pumping, it's going to start dumping. But don't conclude yet. There's two things you have to take note of. Number one, you have to take note of the fact that when a trend line is broken, you have to wait for what is called a retest. Now I'm telling you how to use a trend line. I've shown you how to draw a trend line. Now you have to wait for a test. What is a retest? Now when a line is broken, let me say I just adjusted this trend line. Now you see, let me zoom in so that you see what I mean. Now at this point, this trend line was broken at this point. Now when it broke it tested it came back again and touched the line. So when it touched the line, it showed another long red candle, and this red candle is what is called bearish engulfing. I've made a video on understanding candlesticks. If you have not watched that video, you really need to go and watch the video. So check out the screen right now and go and watch the video. So now this tells you that okay, to the best of our knowledge, this is a confirmation that this crypto would most likely come down. And as you can see from this point, it came down all the way to 68,000. Now let me now show you another trend line that you can also draw. Okay, but before I show you that, when you're drawing a trend line, please pay attention to the time frame. Now you can see time frames. You have this is 15 minutes. You can use 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour is another cool time frame. Now when you draw a trend line on 1 hour time frame, you now go down to lower time frame to see what is happening there. Okay, now the trend line that you draw on 1 hour time frame is more powerful than the one you have on 15 minutes. If you don't understand what time frame is, all those time you see 5 minutes, 15 minutes, I've explained what time frame is in my previous videos, so make sure you check them out. Okay, now I'm going to pull it up on 1 hour time frame. Let me see what the trend line is like before I finally show you what I did, the particular technical analysis that gave me the insight that BTC is going to dump and BTC is really going down. Okay, now let's check. This is 1 hour time frame. So all right, so now let's see what we have here. The network is actually taking some time to load. I don't know why, but let's hope it does that very quickly. Let's hope. Okay, so now when you look at the 1 hour chart, let's zoom out and see what we have here. Now you will discover that this coin is still in a downtrend. Okay, so when you discover that this coin is still in a downtrend, do not trade against the direction of the downtrend. Now this is rule number 3. Remember the first rule: the more the trend line, the more candlestick the trend line connects, the more powerful. Then second rule, remember the second rule: whenever a trend line is broken, it is a sign that there is a change in direction. Okay. Now the third rule is never trade against the trend of upper time frame. What do I mean by trend? Trend is like direction. So as you can see now on 1 hour chart, it shows you that okay, BTC has been dumping from this point. It has been coming down from 88 something, from 100 something thousand. It has been coming down. Now it came up. Now this little line I drew on 15 minutes chart, this is it here. So when it came up, it showed as if it was going up, but we needed to know when it was about to do what? Dump. And that was exactly why we had to draw the line. Now let me go back to now. When you have confirmed the direction of the market from the higher time frame, you can draw a trend line from there. Okay. Remember that the trend lines that you draw on a higher time frame is actually more powerful than the one you draw on a lower time frame. Okay. Now let's go back again to these 15 minutes charts. Let's see what we have there. Let's see what we have there from the 15 minutes charts. Okay, so now on the 15 minutes time frame, I'm not going to draw the trend line that I used to enter my trade. Okay, so this is it. So I saw that okay, the trend is generally is going down, but this one seems to be in a kind of retracing. So what I did was, I first of all I drew so many trend line before I arrived at something like this. I now discovered that okay, this coin actually broke this trend line at this point. Okay, so as you can see here, there is a trend line here, and this trend line was actually broken at this very point. Now remember what I told you, there is no perfect pattern for this trend line. Now let me show you how many touches it has for this thing. So number one, it touched this line at this point. Let me pull up my arrow again. One, it touched this line at this point, one, and then it pumped. Then the second one, it touched this line at this point, two, and then it's pumped. Then the third one, so you see this line is already powerful from my technical analysis. So what I'm now looking for is, I started looking for a break in the line. So now for the third time, it touched this line here and it pumped. Now for the fourth time, remember, the more the line it touches, the more powerful. It touched this line here and it did what? Pumped. Now after it pumped, this was where the game changed. So it now broke this line at this point. As you can see, this point, it broke this line. Okay, so when this line was broken, all of a sudden it came down, right? Now I waited for retest. Remember the second rule: when there's a break in trend line, it shows a change in direction, and then you have to wait for what they call a retest for you to enter. So now it retested this, it came back and touched the line again at this very price. Look at the price, 712, and this was the exact point I opened my trade. Where is the trade? This was the exact point I opened my trade. I'm trying to pull up where I have the trade. Okay, yeah, so this was the exact point I opened my trade. Okay, so let's now see what we have here. So as you can see here now, this was the exact point I opened my trade, as you can see from the entry point. So now you see how powerful a trend line is. Okay, now you see how powerful a trend line is and why you should not joke with it. All right, so whenever you are trading, whenever you are carrying out your trade, let the trend line always guide you. It's very powerful, and it's also very important that you do not neglect your trend line. Okay, now you see what happened there. So from that point the coin started going down. So since the coin broke that trend line, it started going down. Now let me show you. This is an example where the coin wants to come down. Now there's also possibility for a coin to break a trend line and it starts going up. Okay, so I'm also going to show you, give you an example of where the coin broke a trend line and the coin started what, going up. So for instance, now if you have something like this, now look at it here. Now let me see if I can see anyone right now that has that such example. So it's also possible for, remember I told you that there are two places where you can use a trend line: when the coin is going up and then when the coin is coming down. All right, so now let's see what we have here. Let's see what we have here. So I'm looking for an instance where the coin pumped. Okay, let me see where BTC pumped in the past, then I can use that as an example. Okay, so okay guys, so now when you look at this very one, you discover that when you draw this trend line here, okay, now there was a break. It tested this line here, tested it here, tested it here. So this coin has been going down, so it broke it up here, retested it, and then from there, voila, it went all the way up. So now you see how powerful trend lines can be. All right, so now that you know, now you'll now be able to use them in your trades. So if you have any question on what I've just explained, please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section, and if there's anything you want me to still make videos on, let me know. And don't forget the rules. Number one, the more the candlestick it tests, the more powerful. Number two, when the trend line is broken, wait for the test. Then number three, what's number three? Yep, I'm trying to remember the number. Yeah, so trend line tells you, I believe, I'm trying to remember the third one, but just remember these two. These are the major ones. So the more the candlesticks, the more powerful. When it's broken, wait for a test.